What is going on, everyone? Tim from Tierfon Orbital. Today, I would like to talk a little bit in depth, in detail, an install commission that I completed on a Lost Soul. This hilt is based on Dagan Gera's hilt from Jedi Survivor, and it is a solid hilt. This hilt is, I believe, it's all stainless steel with some brass accents. It is a hefty hilt, right? So we've got some very unique design cues in this hilt. There are two windows on each side of the hilt. I wanted to utilize those for some shine through. So I designed a fully removable chassis with a very simple crystal reveal. So we get a, you can see the crystal through these windows. But other than that, it is a pretty straightforward install, right? So I want to come into Fusion and talk about the chassis first. Okay, so here is the chassis system, right? Let's start at the bottom. We've got our battery tray, board tray. I did, of course, add a vent with some 2020 neopixel strips. I just slide the strip up underneath here. I do have two channels for wire management. This is how I bring my leads up to the board. The board will sit in this tray and secure up underneath this lip. And we have a kill switch down in here, right? This upper section is where I designed a very simple crystal chamber, right? So I've got a single neopixel above and below the crystal itself, wire everything up along with my two tactile switches and lit PCB emitter, and then everything marries into the bottom part of the chassis, and that is just epoxied into place, right? And that's it. Very straightforward. I had to do this in two parts so I could get my leads. It was a very complicated, tight area to get my leads past this crystal chamber and up to my switches and my PCB. So I decided to, instead of doing it as all in one, like an all in one body, I just split it into two parts and then married two of them together. All right. And that's it. Let's come up top. All right, so here it is. This is the Lost Soul from Jawas Junkyard. This hilt is very heavy. It is all stainless steel. I'm just now noticing, actually, too, that the pommel cap has been heat stained. I appreciate that little touch that came from the factory like that. Just a really heavy hilt. I don't know if this upper section is brass. I'm pretty sure that this whole emitter section is brass as well, and it's been powder coated. It just feels like a really premium hilt, right? And here is the chassis, okay? So I chose to not do any greebly work up top because these walls are relatively thin, right? So I didn't want to cut any more into the chassis to do design work on this. And then, of course, the chassis really is designed to stay up in the hilt, and you just remove the battery and remove the grip. So you won't really see this upper section when it is inside the hilt. But yeah, I didn't want to get crazy with greebly work on here because I do utilize these two sides for wire management, right? So that's it. That's why you see that two-tone. I don't think rub and buffing regular, just like flat resin like this looks good, in my opinion. I feel like it just looks way better when there are ridges and grooves for it to get caught on and have contrast. So I just chose to leave that black, right? Here are our two tactile switches, 28mm speaker from Smugglers Outpost, Proffie board, kill switch, battery tray. Really simple, right? So to use this guy, spring side is your negative, so take the flat part of your battery, rest it in that battery tray. This was already on, obviously, but if you don't hear an audible cue, hit that kill switch. And there's that crystal chamber.
What is it? Father's lightsaber. Is it the weapon?
All right. So this is a little bit of a complicated process putting this. It's not complicated. It's just a little bit unique the way you put the chassis in the hilt, right? So there are two notches here. I would line up where the switches are on the chassis with where the switches are on the hilt. Kind of slide it up. You can depress these two switches a little bit. Don't push them in all the way, but you'll kind of feel where they are. That way you know that your chassis is going in the right direction. And then I take my grip, slide the grip on till it stops. You're ready to go. come down to the bottom. Right, so here we go. There is that crystal inside of that crystal chamber. I really wanted to utilize those windows for some shine through. I do have to say, these switches are a little strange, right? So there's one that's kind of stays cockeyed. I'm not quite sure why that is. Both of them feel a little loose. I'm not sure how these are secured inside of the hilt, quite frankly. This upper brass section doesn't come off, and I don't know, you can't thread these switches because they just get blocked by that brass part. So I don't know why that is. Probably just a design aspect of the hilt. Man, this thing is heavy. This is a hefty hilt. It's very heavy. Let's see what else we put on here.
Jedi Knight Dagangara.
So I did, at the request of the customer, I did put a Dagangara font. So at the request of the client, I did put a Dagangara font on this hilt. This is from K Sith. It's a really, really great font. Chunky. Nice. Let's put a blade in it. Oh my goodness, I'm just realizing that this is a 7/8 inch blade holder. So this hilt just went up a notch in my book. I really, really like 7/8 inch blades, right? So there is a set screw right here to hold your blade in place. So just kind of rest your blade on those PCB pins of the chassis, then tighten that set screw just to kind of hug your blade, and you're ready to go. It's a nice sounding hilt.
What is it?
These
Father's lightsaber. This is the weapon of a Jedi.
something I did.
Knight.
These switches can be a little finicky, right? So just to the customer, just so you're aware, they kind of get hung up on that lip a little bit. One more. I think I already did this one. But anyway, great hilt. I always appreciate when I can put my short 7/8 inch demo blade in a hilt, right? So anyhow, so to the customer, thank you very much for trusting me with your install. This hilt was a very interesting one to install for. Again, I wanted to utilize those windows for some shine through, right? So we've got a crystal in there. But other than that, really, really solid hilt, right? So anyhow, thank you for watching, everyone. If anyone has any questions about this hilt or this install, please do not be a stranger. And with that being said, may the force be with you always. Have a good one, everybody.